New episode. I talk about starting the FKT, which I have when this comes out. Brought to you by John G. Use code free outside, CS Coffee, Mount to Coast, Garage Grown Gear. Allison Mercer just interviews me, and I'm putting this out at a time that means I have started the FKT. Check out corsa.run/live free outside. You can find the link anywhere on my Instagram. Also support the Trevor Project, which I'm raising money for with this FKT. We get into all of that in this episode. Hope you enjoy. Send good vibes my way because I'm out there going for it. All right, ready, go.
Oh, after being on the podcast for, I don't know, 3, 4 times, I can't even count that high. It's Allison Mercer, your favorite FKT dictator, manager, jack of all trades, master of none, with someone that's actually going to do an FKT that I will be following closely, the one and only Jeff Garmire. How are you feeling?
Thank you for having me. I'm feeling good.
Are you nervous? What
Yeah,
are the feelings?
this is the worst time of anything in life when you're like done with all the preparation, but you haven't started. You're in the middle period where you just can't really do anything. Like I can't go run and get some anxiety out because I'm supposed to be like resting for this thing. So I'm just doing a impromptu podcast as a guest on my own podcast.
I mean, why not? That's the best way to procrastinate and not think about the FKT, but talk about the FKT. What kind of prep have you done? Like, you want to tell people? I know you haven't prior episodes, but what kind of planning, especially for a self-supported attempt, have you done for this?
Yeah, it's so self-supported is my favorite, but it is the most annoying with all these logistics of resupply boxes because you just start thinking all these FKTs are so fast, you're trying to eliminate time and you can shop and buy things, but buying a whole resupply in a grocery store, that's going to take 30 minutes and then repackaging all the stuff into your pack, that's another 20 minutes. So I just prepackaged everything and mailed everything except for 2 resupplies, which will just be short little buys. And so I had to come up with all those addresses. I spent $500 in shipping and just planning all the places to mail stuff out to. And my spreadsheet is extensive, but the biggest preparation that I did and the most fun is you have to figure out what are you going to eat in your travel days to an FKT. So yesterday I bought an entire Costco pizza and I will be eating pizza all day today as I fly from Montana to Maine.
Sounds like a dietitian's worst nightmare. But when you talk about resupply, I mean, I would think when you're so hungry going to a store and trying to think and
Uh-huh.
plan, like you're eliminating anything that you have to think extra on and waste energy and time, which I think are just as, I mean, valuable. I don't know which is more valuable, energy or time.
And
So,
it's tricky. It's tricky too because I'm trying to guess what I'm going to be able to eat and want to eat for the next 6 weeks. And when you shop, you can buy what looks good. So it is like the double-edged sword too. But yeah, I think time and energy and just forcing food down. I've said a lot of times that it's, you're not doing this for the cuisine.
but also, you don't know what the store will have. Like, if they
Hmm.
don't have the things that you like, then you're kind of SOL. So I guess it's good to be prepared and have the things that you hopefully like. Or, with you and your experience in FKTs, you know what works, what doesn't, and also all your racing. But for people that may not know, why AT? There's a lot of long trails out there. I know you've done a lot of them and you've done the AT multiple times, but what draws you back?
Yeah, the AT is just like the hub of where it all happened. It's sort of like track people going to the Olympics when it was in Greece or Athens or something. I don't know. It's just like the AT is the one everyone cares about. I always thought like, oh, it's such a really cool list of names of people who've tried it or gotten the record. And I've thought about it and put things in place to go after it a couple different times and it didn't work out. Once was very sad with COVID. I was planning to leave and go after it like with a month away, and then COVID hit, and I ended up working at a grocery store for that summer instead of going after an FKT. So I think it's just been this thing that's eaten at me since then of, how do you compare to a lot of big names in the past and then just going for it and giving it a shot and just seeing how it goes. It's also so much harder. Sorry, everyone on the West Coast and in the mountains. It's a way harder trail just to physically do. And I think that's really fun. And the variability is all over the place. Like the PCT is horse grade for the entire thing. The AT is like maybe 4 points of contact grade for some of it. So it's just really fun and engaging and different too. And I've always been drawn to the unknown and different kinds of things. And I grew up as far as you can get from the AT and still be in the US in Washington. And so, yeah, it's just different kinds of people, humidity, different weather, all these factors that are not second nature to me. And I think that is super fun.
Now, you said you were going to do it during COVID. So were you going to do Barkley as a lead up to the AT, or what was the
Oh,
plan?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to do Barkley, the AT, and then maybe try the PCT record in the same year. Would this have worked? Probably not. But you know what? It would have been epic to try.
I mean, you have done a calendar triple crown, so it's just I guess, a variation of that.
Yeah, well, I in 2019 I did the Arizona Trail record and recovered really quick, and I was staying at a friend's house in Denver, and it was like, I'm bored. I hate staying at people's houses. I'm gonna do the Pinhoti Trail to kill another week, and then it was like, okay, now I'm gonna go do the John Muir Trail, and then it was like, yeah, I'm kind of ready to do something else. So I'm gonna fly out and do the Long Trail FKT, which Josh Perry just broke. So it was like I can recover quick. Maybe I can do all three of these in 1 year. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah,
I mean,
but this year
procrastinate.
just one.
Yeah, procrastinate doing anything, having real responsibilities. You can just live on the trail. Now that you
Yeah,
say you're homeless now with all the debacles you've had with your previous living arrangements. I mean, why not just live on the trail?
I'm less homeless than I've been for a lot of my adult life. Like I own a car still, so for like 3 years I didn't truly have an address or a car, and I hitchhiked a lot. I hiked around. I worked a few different jobs, and then I found out this thing where if you had a computer and a couple contacts and a little bit of experience with outdoor stuff, you could get outdoor writing gigs for like Backpacker, and I was writing for like Digital Trend. And so my expenses were like $500 a month, and I could write like 2 articles and cover my expenses. So it worked in my 20s, and then you eventually are like, I don't think this is sustainable to live this way forever, but it sure was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. And now, look at you now, just reverting back to old habits now. I think you're a little bit more established now. Um, so what have been the biggest hurdles you've had to go through in leading up to the FKT?
Yeah, I had to shift my start date, so that was annoying. Just a pack. So I'd been testing a pack and everything worked, but I had a few notes. So Ultraspire took into account those notes and was shipping out another pack, but it was like bouncing around on the FedEx tracking page all around the country. So it never showed up. And so in different, they helped out and a different pack showed up yesterday. So I was supposed to start today, actually, as we're recording this on the 5th, but moved that. My shoes for the entire attempt didn't show up till a week ago. So that was really scary. I was joking with people like, yep, still gonna go for it, like walking barefoot up Katahdin, and then like one day in be like, well, guys, it didn't work out. My feet are cut up. I just couldn't manage this barefoot. So that happened. I wrote a whole Substack that's coming out right when I start this thing, and I listed out a bunch of things that went wrong. So, yeah, a lot of things, but it's fine. It doesn't even really bother me that much with shifting things. For the Arizona Trail, I was going to start on one day, and I just was so stressed and couldn't sleep because it was like my first big competitive FKT. So I was just got to the terminus and was like, yeah, I can't do this. So I went back into town and drank like a gallon of soda and ate some fast food and then just started the next day and it all worked out. So I think people see things like this and are like, oh no, that's like getting off on the wrong foot. And it's sort of like, I don't think it's a big deal as long as you just are good with it. So things were stressful. So I moved the start day back a couple days and one day to get everything prepared, one day to decompress, and then start walking, I guess.
Details. Now, I guess that's the key with an FKT is not everything's going to go to plan and you're going to have to problem solve on there. Like, how do you tackle that? How do you have such a laid back attitude and not kind of freak out when something goes wrong?
Um, yeah, this is actually my strength. I'm not the best athlete that goes after some of these, especially like the John Muir Trail FKT list. Like, there's a lot way better athletes on there than me, but I'm very good at just not letting things bother me and never letting it contribute to counting myself out of the bigger goal. So I do a lot of visualizing or thinking about things and putting myself in like, what is the worst I'm going to feel? What's the worst case scenario? When's it going to spiral? And the, like, I have so many, like, I have years worth of living outside and through hiking experience that it can be, I can draw on like really bad times and rough days where it's like, okay, it could be like this, but got through it. So it's okay. And I think I really push in coaching too, just like, let's think about all the things that could be rough or how you're going to feel or lonely or frustrated or not going to do well with it. And if you think and are prepared for that to happen, then when it happens, it's not a surprise. So that's my whole mentality of let's just think about like how it could suck or could have some issues out there. And then when they do happen, it's sort of like, okay, we expected this. We can move right into the problem solving phase and not be in the shock phase where you're yelling at trees and really sad.
Now, I should know this, but I don't. Have you gone southbound before or just northbound or
No,
okay.
just northbound. Yeah.
So what made you decide of that?
Mm, I think so. I couldn't fit in northbound and still continuing my streak of doing Cocodona. And then with Tara doing so well going southbound last year, it offered like a lot of hope and almost a roadmap of, okay, I can still do Cocodona. I can still get a hard rock qualifier. And then I can do the uh, Appalachian Trail FKT. So I think just the example, and it's kind of interesting because that's sort of what Joe setting the record on the John Muir Trail, my last like good successful one. He went the slower direction and got the overall time, and it was like, okay, that's the only way I can get a permit, and I wanted to do this. Let's go do the slower direction and see if I can break that. So I think just seeing and taking like the roadmap or seeing what people do out there just helps me feel like there's a chance because I'm not like that grounded all the time on what's possible, hence Barkley ATPCT thought back in 2020. So it's always nice to see someone successful and be like, okay, that's probably realistic then.
Now, did Tara give you a lot of advice? I know you spoke to John Kelly on the podcast and others, Christian Morgan. Like, who have you talked to about the AT?
Man. Warren Doyle, of course, the gatekeeper of FKTs. Uh, and then yeah, I didn't talk to too many people. I really like, so a lot of info's out there. Everyone puts a lot of stuff out there on their FKT on the Appalachian Trail. So I use some of that, but I really like coming up with my own style and strategy of like, this is my, how comfortable I am with carries. This is how frequent I want to stop. And then let's start piecing that together. So I really liked going through the process a lot uh, myself and with my girlfriend, and her mom actually helped call a lot of places because I am not good at calling on the phone. It's like the scariest thing in the world for me. That's why I have a podcast. But yeah, I listed all the places I could possibly resupply with the least amount of bonus miles to never have to get in a car. And then I whittled it down into what is realistic and I feel good about chunking it up. And then I decided from there how to piece it together. And then I have a structure and some of the daily miles of people who've done it before. But the plan is to not even worry about that until I've survived for sure the White Mountains. And the biggest advice I think I got was from both Andrew Drummond and John Kelly, and just hearing them talk about the whites and just John Kelly's perspective on how much it changed and how hard they felt at that point in his hike of I just need to try to not burn any matches in those mountains or just not a lot because there's a lot of trail to come after that.
Oh, definitely. Now, do you have like a goal mileage every day or like certain places you want to hit by the end of the day? Like, how are you planning the day to day?
For the first 400 miles, it's very loose. Like Tara averaged like 43 miles a day for the first 10 days or something. So
Mhm.
that helps me. I just really have to sit with that and not think about what Joe did in the whites or other people because that's the spot where it's like, okay, there's so much. It's been shown you can make up a lot of time. So I'm trying not to worry about it through that point. Even if I only average 40 miles a day, I think that's okay as long as I'm feeling good coming out of it. So I'm trying not to worry about that. I have some ideas and points I could stop and like a goals and thoughts, but I'm trying once I start, I'm going to try to really distance that and go by feel for the beginning. And then from Glencliff south, which is basically through the hardest section, it'll be really just trying to up the mileage and then a lot of towns and resupply stops. I've segmented into like 2.25 days between these or something, and just trying to hit those numbers from then on would be the way to get my goal time.
Nice. Now, you also went, I guess, recently over to New Hampshire and that area. Was it just to practice that area, or what was your goal for that and doing a mini AT camp?
Yeah, I wanted to see the area. I'd only seen it in the snow, actually, and ice. And the biggest thing was with temperature, humidity conditions. The biggest thing of these FKTs is food and diet and eating enough. And I needed to practice with what I thought I wanted. And I'm glad I did because I made a lot of changes to what I was going to eat out there. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that gear, food, everything worked. Like I'm putting my whole life on hold for basically 6 weeks to do this, that it was like, I need to really go all in and make sure things don't go awry from the beginning because I packed the wrong gear. So I just decided I don't have an apartment anymore. Let's use my rent money and go live on the Appalachian Trail and just become a through hiker and figure out what I need to know for the actual big event.
You mean doing a test run, testing everything and making sure you're prepared? What is that like?
Yeah, no kidding. I know. Like, who would have thought eyes on the hardest section of the trail might be beneficial? So, I mean, that was the biggest thing, especially after John Kelly. It was like, I told him maybe after we finished recording too, it was like, yeah, thanks for like, I can take a lot of lessons from this of like, it was really good to see wow, this South Kinsman's like as hard as anything on the Barkley course. It was like, okay, I definitely need to be out there and going on this trail. So it just made me feel better that that was the right decision and not a waste of time.
Yeah. Now, how will people be able to follow along considering you don't have a crew or a film crew, I should say, after our last podcast, or anyone, supporting you throughout, um, besides your tracker, which we will have on the FKT podcast or FKT podcast, FKT website. Um, how else will people be able to follow along?
I think, well, yeah, I think we're gonna do like a video thing once a week with updates from Eric Jenkins. And if everyone doesn't know who he is, they will soon appreciate some true comedy. And so I think we're looking at maybe like a SNL weekend update in the 90s kind of flair thing. But yeah, we'll see how that evolves. But I think it will be really fun. And the whole method was everyone can post how far they went or have someone else take over their social media. But when the opportunity came up to do something a lot more entertaining and kind of funny, it was like, this will be really fun for me and break up some of the stuff too. So I think I'll just like make maybe a short video, 20 or 30 seconds once a week, and then send that out and he'll riff on it, I think, for the update with the tracker type of thing. So, yeah, we don't really know what it will become, but I think it will be really fun because no one's ever tried anything like this before.
Yeah. Did you have people to audition for the weekend update and to help cover your social media? Because that's a lot of pressure and it's a very, very coveted spot to do.
Yeah, there were big auditions. We like Will Ferrell, we just decided a little too old.
Mm,
Um, yeah, Joe Rogan wasn't funny enough, so he
yeah.
was out. Cam Haines just he didn't know much about through hiking, so
Mm.
got him out. I'm just trying for SEO to say some names that are going to really pump this podcast up. Who else
Taylor
has a lot of followers?
Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift said no, she was too busy. Uh,
Yeah, I mean,
Michael
football season's
Jordan,
coming up.
Michael Jordan hates social media. Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, we just
all the
wanted
big
somebody
names.
that somebody with yeah, similar sense of humor that likes to toe the line, ride the line, whatever you call it, go off the rails a bit.
Yeah, I mean, hence the name of his podcast.
Yeah.
Now, how familiar is he with the AT and trails? I mean, we know, and anyone that doesn't know can quickly Google his track resume and pedigree, knows he knows a lot about track, but what about trails?
That's why I think it's going to be really fun and funny is he knows enough about it, but he's going to be learning along with everyone following because I think if you take through hikers, that's a small percentage of people who are into these. I think it's as much trail runners too. So I think it'll be really fun coming from a spot of not all this knowledge that takes for granted on FKTs and the through hiking world in general. And I sent him an all trails up Mount Moosilauke up the Beaver Brook Trail and was like, you really need to go do this so that you know what the trail's like. Cause he's a track guy. He only knows how to run flat. And I just thought it would be so funny if he like went out there, in his singlet and split shorts and was like ready to run up this. It's only like 3.5 miles each way, this trail. And then it just takes him like 2 hours each way where yeah, you just would be shocked at how technical the trail could be because he lives
Now,
in New Hampshire, I think.
now, did he put starting blocks up too?
Well, I'm going to use him at Katahdin because I think that'll really get me off on the right foot.
I mean, why not? Give you an extra second on the competition that's not there.
It's tricky because I have to carry them out, I think, since it's self-supported. So I'm going to tie
True.
a rope to them and then start off and just drag them behind me.
That'll work. I mean, and every day you start, like you just have the starting blocks and then you're off.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, I practice by putting like a lot of rocks in my shoes too and just doing
Hmm.
miles with that. So I've
Yeah.
practiced all the things that can go wrong.
I mean, some people use a weighted vest, but maybe, rocks in your shoes is like the new weighted vest.
Yeah, I used weighted shoes, actually.
Why not? Now, after seeing the USA Championship track and field, did you draw any inspiration from that?
That I need to be 16 years old, I think. Yeah, youth.
No, it froze.
All right, unfrozen. We're
Okay.
back.
All right.
We're back live. The inspiration I drew was that I'm glad I didn't become a track athlete because people are so fast.
Now, I think you also said that 16 is a new 26, right? So maybe you'll
Yeah,
revert back to like a your youth after seeing Cooper Lutzenhau, or I don't even know how to say his name,
totally.
the 16-year-old that ran a 142 800 meters, which was wild.
I know I could be his dad, which is scary. So, um, yeah, I don't know what the inspiration is, but I'm just going to go with the longer something is, the more wisdom and experience you need. So maybe that'll carry me.
I just think you just revert back to feeling young and not think about what hurts or the pain. Just think, no, I'm a 16-year-old. I'm young and spry and can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm another white guy with a podcast. I can do anything. That's the mentality we have.
Hey, I mean, you've been successful so far, you know.
Yeah.
Now, things get hard on the trail, what do you think about? And like, what kind of keeps you going? Where, you're like, all right, 100 miles down, only 2,000 to go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think just turning your brain off and thinking about each section. I do have these three little bracelets I wear. One says onward, one says keep going, and one says grace. So those are three little mantras. And I like John Kelly's thing of he had a bracelet and he was like putting all the good energy or when you're feeling good. I like that kind of feeling of when things are feeling good, put that in there. And then when things are going bad, you can pull it back out. But all these things sound really dumb when you talk about it when you're not doing something, but when you're out there, everything does feel so real of if you can connect emotions or feelings, or if I remember back to past times I've been on sections, I think that really helps where you just can draw parallels and jump between emotions type of things and draw on like being in that moment a different time so you're not thinking ahead or thinking into the past. And yeah, I always like to think of things as like you can only do the best that you can in the day you're in. Can't change yesterday and you can't do anything about tomorrow, so you just gotta be as smart as you can be and the best you can do today, and then hopefully that feeds into tomorrow, and then suddenly 6 weeks have gone by and you're still homeless and don't even have a home to live in, but you might have your name on a website. Maybe.
I mean, it's a pretty cool website. Not that I'm biased or anything.
Yeah, a lot of money coming my way at the end of this. I know the big check, like at the end, like a Happy Gilmore sized golf check or something.
Oh. Did you see Happy Gilmore too?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I can't
well, you're not
imagine it
missing
was
much.
that good.
The cameos, yes. The If you're going for plot and character development, no, not the movie for you. But if you want some epic cameos, John Daly crushed it.
Oh,
But
I bet.
oh my God. But also, I think I'd be remiss to not mention about the fundraising project you have going on during the AT. Just like John Kelly raising over what $65,000 for Hurricane Helene, I know you have a special project going on.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up because I definitely would have forgot, and I'm not going to put anything in the middle of this episode. But yeah, I wanted to raise money for. I actually had a lot of requirements, but something that I care a lot about, which is the mental health world. I've raised, I don't know, the tens of thousands or something during the calendar year Triple Crown for suicide prevention. And I like that, but I wanted to look at something maybe a little bit more targeted. And especially since therapy has helped me so much with all my mental issues along the way, that I wanted to find something like that. And so I settled on the Trevor Project because it's definitely a community that has not been getting a ton of help or resources from our current administration. So I thought that my one chance to be in the spotlight for 6 weeks or so could maybe do some good. And I just love that the organization sends over 90%, and the rest is just like credit card fees, straight to helping LGBTQ plus community, both with like they have a text hotline if you don't want to call in. Like myself, I hate phone calls. They have a call-in hotline, and they provide therapy resources and stuff. So it just felt like a really direct way to like literally save lives and stuff. So I thought that would be the best way to send to make a difference while out on the trail, because these FKTs and through hikes have saved my life over the past 34 years. And so getting to kind of redirect some of that from me getting to do something that I love doing and has provided me a lot of enjoyment and purpose, and I don't know, I guess a career too, that hopefully make a difference in a community that I definitely care a lot about, and we do not seem to, as a greater whole of a country, promote or give resources to. So thought that would be a good way to support the Trevor Project, and trying to raise $10 per every mile of the FKT. So that's like $21,000.
Nice. And definitely such a worthy cause. And also will give you extra kind of motivation and inspiration of how you're helping. Because, like you said, FKTs can be a very selfish, you know, journey, opportunity thing that we do and running in general, that to bring in a greater good or a cause and just seek an opportunity to give that a spotlight is wonderful. And I really commend you for doing that, for making it about the nonprofit versus just, hey, here's me, look at me doing this. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think the big thing too, in just the past 6 months or so, seeing a lot of issues centered around like trans issues in sports and stuff. It's like, well, how can we go a level above that where that doesn't matter? Of there's so much more than just what division or what place someone gets in a competition. That there's a lot more mentally going on than just other parents worrying that their kids are competing against someone who's trying to find their identity in a really their formative years that matter so much. Is how can we make a difference in the lives of people who probably have are in a tough spot right now. And so that was the way to think about it. And I don't know, just I think trail organizations are great, and they need to be a part of, they need to have money to make these things happen. But I think going another level of how can we directly maybe save a life or two would be something really cool to have, no matter how the result of this FKT ends up.
Definitely. And will you have that as a part of the tracking of how to donate and everything?
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes too, and it's in my link tree on everything, link in the bio stuff. But yeah, it should be on the tracker and stuff, and yeah, make it as easy as I can from the middle of the woods.
Awesome. And we'll put it in our FKT Tracking Now page too, along with your tracker. Um, I think we've covered a lot of ground, pun
We
intended,
have.
uh, in this podcast. Any other parting words, your last will and testament before you head out?
Yeah, my last thing is I think and have worked with a lot of athletes the last few years, and even myself, is the cool thing about all of this is that it is public and it is scary, and there is a high chance of failing at all these, but just going for these things, I think, really takes back some of your power away from anyone who's going to throw hate or shade or doubt you, whether it's family, friends, or anonymous people in their chairs at home. So just go for things, because that is the true power. The success depends on so many things that can be out of your control, but showing up at the start line is the most powerful thing you can do, and a good way to take back control of your life, and don't let other people dictate what you can or will or attempt to do, because in the end, you never know until you fail at a few things or succeed at a few as well.
Yeah, and that's what I appreciate about you is your transparency, the good, bad, and the ugly. You put it out there and it just makes you relatable and people get it. and they show that, even, you can make mistakes or things happen to you, but they also learn from it and really appreciate that. So I do appreciate you putting yourself out there and, doing hard things. So I can't wait to follow along, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks. Yeah. All right. Now I got to turn this episode around, fly across the country, and start an FKT.
Like it's hard.
Yeah, no big deal. All right.